Welcome to the Zono Sports Show, where you know Zonos. Happy Halloween. October 31st, it is Halloween, trick or treat, smell my feet, give me something good to eat as far as games that I might consume on the television with my eyes. But there's been a lot that's been going on in the sports world. I know it's been a couple weeks since I've talked to you guys, but I am here. I'm back, better than ever. Now, let's first talk NFL trade deadline. That was yesterday, right? October 30th. The deadline came and went, and there were a lot of moves that were made throughout the NFL. First being Ty Montgomery, and I'm sure there's no surprise there, considering the fact that he did not heed the coach's advice on this past Sunday when Aaron Rodgers and the boys went over to play the St. Louis Rams, who are touted as the best team in the NFL, right? Well, Aaron Rodgers had him in the game, and when you pay a guy like Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback with that type of skill, that type of ability that's generational, then you expect he should get an opportunity to get the ball in his hands late in the game, drive down the field, and can get you in position to win the game with a field goal from Mr. Mason Crosby. Now, the more and more I think about it, let me clean my collar up a little bit. I want to get a little fancy for this one, okay? The more and more I think about it, Ty Montgomery, the reason you got traded is because you did not stay in the end zone. The Ravens, I guess, would say they get an upgrade because they get an offensive weapon, which Ty Montgomery, he was concerned about the fact that he did not know his role in Green Bay. Excuse me. However, why would you jeopardize winning a football game because of your own ego? Because you don't know your role. When you play with Aaron Rodgers, your role might be wiping his butt, kissing him on the cheek, telling him, go play your butt off today, even though I won't see the field. When you play with a guy like that, you always give him an opportunity to help your team emerge victorious. And what happened? You took matters into your own hands, and now you're in Baltimore. Can't blame the Packers for that decision because they've got Jamal Williams back there in the backfield, Aaron Jones. They don't necessarily need Ty Montgomery. Was a star at Stanford, but I don't know, his skills just haven't translated well to the NFL for me. HaHa Clinton-Dix was also traded to the Washington Redskins. Now, in DC, I think he can make a difference on that defense when you pair him with Redskins safety DJ Swearinger. He's got the famous big hit on the Clemson running back Ellington where I really like DJ Swearinger, pairing him with a safety who's smart like HaHa Clinton-Dix, both SEC guys, South Carolina and then Alabama. So you pair those two guys together, that Washington defense could potentially make noise in the playoffs if the Redskins are able to make it into the playoffs. Now, John Elway allegedly is happy that Demaryius Thomas, who was traded from the Broncos to the Houston Texans, he's happy that the least they could have done was put Demaryius on a contender. Now, Demaryius Thomas has had a lackluster season playing with Case Keenum in the Denver Broncos. Hasn't quite been a heavy producer. He's on my fantasy team, so I know firsthand. But he is someone who's experienced, who's done it at a high level. He's someone that can maybe be lightning in a bottle if he can catch it for 1, 2, 3, 4 years. Now, the one thing I didn't like was that Bleacher Report decided to put him in a photo on Instagram wearing a number 80 jersey. Now, we all know that's the GOAT in Houston, Andre Johnson's number. So, be careful before you pick out those images and you added them up with numbers like 80 on a guy who was a star at Houston, who's a for sure first ballot Hall of Famer, in my personal opinion. I really like Andre Johnson at wide receiver. But this is an upgrade to put for Deshaun Watson. You slide Demaryius Thomas right in. That takes some of the pressure off of Mr. Hopkins at wideout. And it also just allows the defense to play much more freer, which they already play free. They're lockdown defense. They didn't get rid of Jadeveon Clowney, the Houston Texans, which I'm glad they didn't do that. You need him. You need Whitney Merciless. You need J.J. Watt. When you have that type of defense and then you add an offensive weapon, it just gives your team a little bit of confidence. So good trade for the Texans and the Broncos. What do they really have to play for this year? John Elway got what he needed out of Peyton Manning, a Super Bowl. So what are they really doing in Denver right now? Is it just like an every 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 year type of thing, John Elway? 20-year type of thing? Who knows? Maybe 15-year type of thing? Who knows? But I will say that this could work out for both teams. Now, the big trade of the day for me, the Eagles are winners by trading to get Golden Tate. Golden Tate has always shown that he's not afraid of a challenge. He will rise in the face of adversity and make sure that he makes a play when it counts. We all saw the play with him against Jeff Heath, made the Cowboys defenders look crazy out there playing for the Lions. Matt Patricia acknowledged that they needed a guy like Golden Tate. It hurts. It's tough to get rid of him. But this is an upgrade for the Eagles. With all the injuries they've had at receiver this year, they've had to bring your boy back, Jordan Matthews. Golden Tate is somebody that you can slide right in, who's tough, he can stretch the field, and get you yards after the catch. That's what the NFL's about. Yak. Give me that yak. Now, the Rams, they added Jacksonville's Dante Fowler. Now, many of you know Dante Fowler. His rookie year got hurt in preseason training camp, hurt his knee, tore it up, missed his whole rookie year. Dante Fowler, I think, has always had something to prove because of that. I don't think he's gotten lazy by getting the money. He hasn't really gotten any money. But Dante Fowler, you pair him with Ndamukong Suh, Aaron Donald, the best defensive lineman in the game. We might as well call these guys the Barnyard Boys because they're the Rams, right? Where do they keep Rams? They keep Rams in a barn, right? The Barnyard Boys on that D-line. I look forward to seeing what can they do now that they've got a more solid defensive line. They've already had a solid defensive line, but your offense, you've got Todd Gurley, Jared Goff, Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp didn't even play Sunday, and they still balled out and beat Green Bay. So I look at this Rams squad, and they just continue to get tougher and tougher, and they truly do look like a Super Bowl for sure contender. Are we going to watch Super Bowl? Are we going to watch Super Bowl with Rams and Chiefs? That's what it's smelling like around here. At least in Kentucky, that's what it smells like to me. Hugh Jackson got fired from the Browns head coaching job. I'm not surprised. They're, 2-4-1, something like that. I'm not surprised because it's like, I don't know, 2-5-1, excuse me. I look at this team and I think to myself, you've had 3 years to get it right. You have Baker Mayfield now. There's no excuse. You had a tie. So to me, if I'm management and I'm looking at this entire situation, I'm speculating, I'm saying this guy really can't win. We gave him the first pick overall. We made all these moves and we're under 500 by a couple games. Why? For what? So Hugh Jackson, I'd say that, will he get another opportunity as a head coach? I don't think so. I think those days are done. But I could definitely see him getting on somebody's coaching staff and making a difference somehow, some way, but it just hasn't worked out. The Browns, what are they going to do with Baker Mayfield? Don't hang him out there to dry. Get him somebody that can help out. Now, the speculation is that Lincoln Riley could get plucked right of Oklahoma, but does Lincoln Riley want to leave Oklahoma? If I'm Lincoln Riley, maybe I do, because much less pressure in college than the NFL. And also, your legacy, I don't know if you can surpass Bob Stoops because they call him Big Game Bob because they said that he couldn't win him, but I remember when they beat Alabama a couple years ago. But Lincoln Riley, if you want to create your own legacy, then you could end up being the Browns head coach. The Browns know that Lincoln Riley's familiar with Baker Mayfield. They have a great relationship. We saw the video and clip of Baker Mayfield emotional, crying about the fact that he let Lincoln Riley down when he had all those past transgressions in college. So Lincoln Riley, can you be the Browns savior? Maybe y'all should call him up. NCAA football-wise, let's go ahead and move over to college football since we're talking about Lincoln Riley. The playoff rankings are out, and there's no surprise Alabama is the, for sure, solidified number one. They're without a doubt. They play LSU this weekend in Tiger Stadium. In Death Valley. That'll be a tough game because people know LSU is a hard team to beat at nighttime, but I think Alabama will get it done. That's a de facto playoff game because you got Clemson at number 2 and then LSU at number 3. So that's a de facto playoff game within itself. Alabama wins. They're in the SEC championship. That's a de facto playoff game in itself. LSU is effectively out. I think they'll drop out of the top 5 with a loss, maybe drop to number 8 or 9 or 10, depending on how bad they lose. Now, if they get steamrolled like everybody else, they're going to fall out of the top 10, which could leave some room for UCF to shoot up a little bit. Now, also, you got Notre Dame at 4, Michigan at 5, which if Penn State, them being a 2-loss team, if they can beat Michigan and somehow find a way to win their games down the stretch, wouldn't it be something to see the Penn State Nittany Lions sneak into the college football playoff as a 2-loss team? I think they're the only team with a resume left that could do so, but we'll have to see. I don't think they'll put a 2-loss team in this year just because there's so many good teams, and I think we will have about 5 or 6 teams that are 1-loss or undefeated teams when it's all said and done. Then you've got Georgia. They just obliterated Florida down in Jacksonville in the world's greatest outdoor cocktail party, the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. They've got playoff action in Lexington this weekend. Yes, against your Kentucky Wildcats. And we ain't talking basketball. Kentucky Wildcats currently sit number 9 in the college football playoff rankings. They're in the top 10. This will be a big game at Kroger Field. For football, this may be the loudest crowd they've had in that stadium, Kroger Field. So get your shopping carts out, Cats fans, because the Georgia Bulldogs, they are definitely going to tax you to get this win. The players are going to get beat up. Benny Snell, they're gonna crowd the box on you. They're going to make sure that Mr. Wilson doesn't have clear throwing lanes. He's going to have to air the football out. They're not just going to be able to run the ball down Georgia's throat. I don't care what they think they've done all year. They're not going to be able to do that against this Georgia defense. And Terry Wilson, they're going to test your arm. Can you get the ball to Bowden Jr.? Can you get the ball to your playmakers? Can you make plays with your legs? Because this Georgia team, they are no slouch. And Kentucky knows that from previous years, but this will be a big game, de facto playoff game for the SEC East crown. Look forward to seeing it. Then you got Oklahoma at 7, Washington State at 8. There's not enough strength in the Pac-12 for them to even get in the playoff, in my opinion. And then, as I stated, Kentucky at 9, then Ohio State. Can they make the climb from the depths of hell? Because that's where they are right now after the way they got beat down and busted up by Purdue for their first loss of the year. I mean, it was not even close. Ohio State, they will have to blow everyone else out down the stretch, including Michigan. They will have to beat them decisively. I'd say 3-4 touchdowns. And you want Michigan to potentially be a team that's undefeated. You want that for them. Now, will it happen? Not particularly sure. But I think that Ohio State, they do have a glimmer of hope. And Urban Meyer, he has a knack for finding a way to get his teams in those positions. And just because of everything that's happened with the domestic violence preseason, I don't think that the College Football Playoff Committee would even award Ohio State that playoff spot because of the controversy and things that would be swirling around, the storylines that would happen with the College Football Playoff. So that's a no deal. Now, my shocking news of the day, why does DJ Durkin still deserve a job? This head coach of Maryland, this is the current head football coach of Maryland sports, right? Maryland football. And he had a player, Jordan McNair, who died on his watch, heat stroke. And the Board of Regents decided, you know what? We want DJ Durkin to keep his job. What this is saying to college athletes and athletes everywhere is that, if this guy, if we like the guy and we think he can do a good job, it doesn't matter who dies. It doesn't matter the casualties. We're going to keep him no matter what. For me, if my kid's on that team, he ain't playing another snap for that coach. He will be transferring. I heard that 5 players walked out of that meeting, which rightfully so. They should have. I don't blame them. But I just look at this situation, and it's a travesty. It's why college football players say, college basketball players say, college athletes alike say we should get paid in compensation for what we do for you guys. Because we're putting ourselves, our health, our lives on the line for you guys' check. So, Maryland, you guys will get a lot of public pressure. Evidently, the students are going to protest. And I truly, sincerely hope that they make the right decision here, because to reinstate DJ Durkin and think that he can walk in another parent's home and say, hey, send your kid to play for me, I'm going to take care of him, make sure they're okay. You had a kid die during a workout? How's that for recruiting? Not great. NBA has cooked up a little bit, cooked up and got a little spicy preseason-wise. Not preseason, beginning of the season-wise. Tyronn Lue, Cavs coach, he was fired for starting 0-5. We all saw that coming. LeBron's gone. Why not clean the house? Why not clean the cupboard? The Rockets are still on the ground. They have not taken off this year. You got James Harden dealing with injury. And then they're 1-5. Bad offseason for Houston. They get rid of Trevor Ariza. They get rid of Luke Mbamute. They add Melo, who's a shell of himself. He's not All-Star Melo anymore. I don't care how he tries to portray himself, how many hoods he puts on. He ain't All-Star Melo. Mike D'Antoni says they lost their swagger. No, you guys just lost some talent, and you guys lost a little bit of that mystique that Daryl Morey tried to create there in Houston. They had something special brewing. James Harden ain't gonna win another MVP, not with this crew. So if I'm the Rockets, I reevaluate the way we want to play this year, because that personnel that they currently have, they're not going to be able to play the way that they played last year. They're not going to be able to hit all those threes because they don't have that type of defense that can stretch the floor. Once you come down and you hit a three, they're going to go ahead and go back down and maybe brick a three. So I look at this offense. Excuse me, is what I meant to say. They're not going to be able to stretch the floor like that. Melo's a spotty shooter. Chris Paul, he doesn't do well when he's a strict shooter. He does better when he's someone who could be a facilitator. So I really think this Rockets team will struggle. Now, Golden State, they look unstoppable. Klay Thompson hit 14 threes. That was a record. Klay Thompson set a record and hit 14 threes. That's amazing. Broke Steph Curry's record. Steph Curry hit 13. So I look at this Golden State team. They're not going to stop. Chef dropped 50, and then you had KD drop 25 in the fourth quarter. I truly believe that this Warriors team may be even better than last year. They may be more elite than last year. I look at this entire roster, this entire squad, and I think to myself, who's going to beat these guys when DeMarcus Cousins gets back? Who's going to beat them? And also, the Lakers, they are a close second to the best team in the West. Now, there's no definitive best team in the West, but this Lakers team, I think they grew up by adding a LeBron James. The fight that they got in a couple weeks ago, the fight with Houston, it really, really, really helped them out a whole lot. Because Rondo, yes, some people say that he may have spit in Chris Paul's face, and Brandon Ingram did run in and throw a punch, and they all got suspended a couple games, this, that, and the third. But this Lakers team, they have gotten a lot tougher. They're scoring the ball. I know they need people that can shoot some more threes. I understand they need that. However, you have this squad who sees all the things that's taking place in the West, and they say, you know what? We've got the Warriors in the Pacific Division. LeBron makes a difference, and he's somebody who is going to be there. He told them, hey, when you see a brother on the ground, pick your brother up. Let him know that you're there for him. Let him know. Make them feel as though they are somebody that you're going to fight for. And they did that. They literally did that. Brandon Ingram literally did that. So I really like this Lakers team, and I think that they'll just continue to get better. They're the second best team in the West. I'm calling it now. Lakers and Golden State Warriors in the Western Conference Finals. Mark my words. Because who else is out there? The T-Wolves? All the stuff they got going on? Nah, I don't think so. Toronto, I look at them in the East, and they can definitely compete with the West. Kawhi brings some Western toughness to that squad. They've shown thus far that they can deal with anybody. Yeah, I know the Bucks look better. They had a great game going the other night. The Bucks were able to win that game. However, I watched their game against Philly, and Kawhi Leonard made Ben Simmons look like a baby. The way he just took the ball from him all night last night, snatched it from him, give me that, give me this, give me that, give me that. It's like taking candy from a baby, literally. That's why they call him the Claw. That's why he's the Claw. But Toronto, do I see them as being better than the Boston Celtics? Yes, they're better than the Boston Celtics because I just look at the way they play defense. I think that will be smothering. Yeah, I know Boston plays defense with Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, Al Horford out there. Scary Terry can come in and get you buckets off the bench, but Kyle Lowry, I think, has a lot more faith in Kawhi Leonard's ability because of everything everybody says and everything that he's seen. So watch out for Toronto being another team that could take down the Warriors in the finals if the Warriors do make it to the finals. Remember what I said. LeBron, he has been to 8 straight finals. And let's not discount him and say that he can't make it to 9 straight with this young Lakers team and the way that they're playing. Now, before I close out, I would like to toot my own horn and say that the World Series, my pick got it done. Didn't I tell you guys that the Boston Red Sox, because they hit the ball the way they did, because they score runs, because they play defense the way they do, I told you guys that they would probably win the World Series. And you know, the reason you guys watch Zoe Knows is because Zoe knows, right? Well, yeah, I just wanted to toot my own horn and say that the Boston Red Sox did take down the Dodgers. We'll see what happens to Clayton Kershaw's legacy. He's given up the most home runs in postseason elimination games. It's a bad look. Very, very bad look. But he'll recover like most great athletes do. And I'm sure that we'll say things about him like we said about LeBron until he wins a World Series. So Clayton, keep it together, man. Keep working. And shout out to those Red Sox for making me look like a pretty smart guy, right? Well, we will talk and wrap next week. Thank you for watching the Zoe Knows Sports Show, where you know Zoe Knows.